I'm Tiffany Frank. I'm part of Internet 2. I'm a program manager on the Net Plus team, and my area of specialty is AI services. So I am very excited to hear the presentation from Saira, who's here with us today from the University of Florida, and she is going to share their story on their internal solution that they've built there for AI, and also some strategy. And then we're going to save some time at the end for questions. So there are microphones, set up if you want to come up to the microphone at the end of the presentation, and we'll save about 10 minutes for questions. So I'm going to turn it over to Saira.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I feel like a celebrity standing on this podium with all these floodlights. I absolutely cannot see any of you. The only thing I see is these round shapes of flashing sun in my eye. So if my head is down, I'm simply just trying to avoid those lights, not ignoring you in any way. And thank you for coming today. I was really excited when the talk got accepted. And then I saw that it got accepted for the last day of the conference, and I thought, okay, maybe not so good. And then I thought, let me take a look at the agenda, and I saw that the agenda was full till the end of the day. So I said, okay, maybe there is still some hope that some people might show up for this talk at 10 a.m. on the last day of the conference. So I give you a lot of thank you for making my day and showing up for this session. I know there's a competing session on AI, where I think something about AWS is being also presented. So for those of you who chose me, you made the right decision. I should have bought some tchotchkes with me, and I was thinking about it once I got here, so sorry. But if you leave your name, I will certainly send you some tchotchkes. Don't count on it. But thank you for coming, and I will get to business right away. And as you can see, my talk's title is Turning AI Tools into a Common Good and Shared Utility for all campus. And throughout this journey, everybody has been talking about something similar from their own different contexts. So I will talk a little bit about our story. And the story of this presentation, to begin with, it started with this abstract that I sent out because I thought, let me try and see if it makes sense for anybody to accept it. So I wrote these few lines, and it got accepted. And I thought, oh, I have to write a presentation now. And then I didn't do anything about it till Ken, I don't know if he's in this room, he is right there. He said, oh, we have to write a blog post about it. I'm like, oh my God, now I have to really think about this thing. So I wrote something, and then Ken put a lot of words, and if you haven't seen this, it's on the Internet 2 site. And he has made me say things that I didn't even remember saying, but it's all good. It put a positive spin to this presentation, and maybe you saw it and you are here. So thank you once again, and I will get to the business. So as I was thinking about this presentation, and I'm a last minute, my juices don't flow till I'm in the last minute of the deadline is approaching. So as I started to think, oh my God, I have a 12 noon deadline to get this presentation to Internet 2 yesterday, I started to look, and I thought, okay, it's tomorrow, it's at 10 a.m., I have till 10 a.m. to get this over. And then I looked at the agenda, and I realized that I will be presentation 18 on a series of AI presentations that have occurred. So people would have looked at and heard about a lot of AI here. So how is my story going to be any different for any of you that have gone to all of these? The ones that I have checked off are the ones that I went to, as the schedule permitted. The one in orange is mine, and then there are two more that I intend to attend, and I think those are the last two. As I was going through some of the other sessions, I realized that while there was no AI in the title of those presentations, everybody had tried to make a connection. So like when I went to the Juniper presentation yesterday, they also used the word AI in that lightning talk, because you can't do AI unless you have a fast, high-band network. So I thought, okay, here's another spin to AI. But focused AI presentations, lots of them, and I am presentation 18. So it got me thinking about, okay, what is my presentation really going to distinguish or separate it from everybody else's story? So I put the titles of the presentation in a word art, and of course the word AI stood out. And all of these words stood out. People were talking about infrastructure, collaborative solutions, AI video, common infrastructure, growing, bringing, collaborating, scaling. All of these words came up in those titles of the presentation. And then I thought, okay, what's the one word that's missing in these? And that is strategy. And I have a little bit of a love for strategy because my dissertation was on strategy. It was about online education strategy, but I like strategy. And I like to think about how are we going to do things, but with a plan. How do you plan around it? What's your strategy of getting from here to there? And not just, kind of like fly by the seat of your pants kind of a thing. We get a lot of things from our leadership, and everybody wants it yesterday, but you need to take that moment, take a deep breath, and say, okay, how am I really going to do this? So our talk is about how do you do it with limited resources, and you do it great, that it is sustainable. And don't worry that you're not the first out of the gate, because it's about the marathon, it's not about the sprint. So that's our story, and I will leave you with some thoughts about the things that you need to think about as you are planning for this. Not all of us are blessed with, University of Florida is blessed with a lot of resources, but not all of us are. So my background, I come from University at Buffalo before I was here at University of Florida. And so varying resources, both large institutions, but different degree of resources. Within the state of Florida, there's various institutions that cannot do what we can do. So how can we help the entire state? And our strategy is to start with the end in mind. And my boss often says that. Let's start with the end in mind. He has these words, which I always forget. He says it better, but anyway, I'm also a person, what's the end game and what's the path to that, right? So think about that, and then we take it to that level. So having said all of this, this is what Internet 2's community exchange has going on. The part that's missing is the strategy piece. And so my talk will hopefully shine a light on some of the strategies around the infrastructure and then around planning AI services for your institutions, if you haven't already done that. So we come to the University of Florida story, our journey. And our journey started, so AI has been around, as you all know, it's not something new. AI, machine learning has been in our environment. We have, for those of us who have supercomputers, we have researchers who are doing all of these projects for several years. The whole hype and the whole renewed attention all started with the ChatGPT sort of saga and the promotion and the marketing, right? And then for us, what happened is that I think around 2019 or I think it's 2019-20, we had a generous benefactor. We have a gator in the shape of Mr. Chris Malakowski. And he came to our provost and said, hey, what happens if I give you a large donation of an NVIDIA cluster? And our provost, who's a visionary guy, said, hey, we'd take it and we would do AI across the curriculum. So Joe Glover said we would do it, we would take it, we would do it AI across the curriculum. And then that was the start of a renewed fervor around AI, and we had very willing faculty.
At UF, we have started to take this mindset that AI should be for everybody. It should be across everybody, across the curriculum, and everybody should have access to it. So doing AI here and teaching AI here has been a rewarding experience. I mean, we get to teach everybody and see so many different applications of AI. My name is Diego Alvarado. I'm an instructional assistant professor at the Department of Engineering Education. I knew I liked math. I knew I liked statistics a lot. I like to build things, so I kind of knew I wanted to do engineering. Pair that with the fact that I like programming. One of my favorite classes when I was doing industrial engineering was my programming courses. So just combining both things kind of like was a natural mix for me. And it's a lot of the stuff that we do in AI. The course I teach, that I'm teaching right now is EL 3872, AI Fundamentals. It's the first course for the AI certificate, if that's what the students want to do, but it's a course all about AI. The course is open to anybody at UF, so every student is welcome. It doesn't matter if you have a background in mathematics or statistics, or if you have a background in computer or not. It doesn't matter. The assignments have been created to not just teach you something, but be a little fun, have a little bit of like real life content simulation part of it. I wanted to show you how it could be applied in the real world. For that, we have our main projects, and we have three main projects for the class. I use three main projects for the class. One is what I call a sea turtle conservation project. In this one, it's a simulated project, right? I take the persona of this grouchy marine biologist that is trying to save the turtles, and he's mad because nobody wants to listen to what they have to say to save the turtles. He hires each student to create a AI that will communicate with the population and teach them how we can save the turtles, and then have some skills that the AI can do for anybody that wants to use it. So we go through three parts of that project. We go through the process of teaching a bot how to answer questions. So basically we'll go through the whole process of how to answer questions for a chatbot. And then we do a regression analysis in where we teach the students how to analyze their data. How do you understand what you have? Is it good data? Is it not good data? And then the last part is the image recognition. Everybody always wants to do image recognition. So at this part of the class, we have a small data set originally of about 60 images, and we teach the AI to recognize them, to get an answer. So at the end of the day, they present this project to the professor at the marine biologist lab, and yeah, that the idea is simulating real world, simulating a real experience in an application of AI. The course has grown tremendously. When we started with 70-something students, and it has only grown from there. We have right now over 540 students in the class for this semester. What I really would like to remember in 5 years from now, I would like them to remember what AI is, how it affects their lives, how they can apply the AI concepts if that's what they decide to do, and how the students should apply it responsibly in their day-to-day, to build a better world for all of us.
So as you can see, we had a winning combination. It's a triangle. And if you remember the keynote speaker saying in her lead, the first step is leadership. We had a visionary leader. She talked about being inclusive in the design stage. We have faculty involved in some of these things. So I think we got some parts of that right. And I think as I go along the rest of the slides, you'll realize that we pretty much have all of those aspects. I didn't know about LEAD until yesterday or whenever I heard it, but when I went through my presentation, somehow we have those elements, right? Because eventually I think all of us will get there from our own perspectives, but we will all come to the same destination. So we at the institution, we have AI as part of our DNA. And as you can see, we have an artificial intelligence initiative. There is a lot of fervor, the institution, everywhere as part of our DNA. So it just makes it much more fun to support it and think of how technology can enable this vision for the university. So at the university level, the vision is set. You can go to ai.ufl.edu of what we want to do, AI for everyone, AI everywhere. And the most beautiful part of this is that, everybody is saying the same things. You want to do, integrate it into everything, etc. As I say, yada, yada, yada. But the best part of it, which resonates with me is, embrace it. You don't have to start big. You can start small. You just have to do it, right? And the question is, how do you do it within the resources that you have allocated? Right now at University of Florida, we have 230 plus AI courses. All the colleges are embedded in this, lots of students taking them. These stats might be a few weeks old. When I was initially started the presentation, this was the data I had. If you go and look at it, maybe the numbers have increased even more right now. Anyways, so AI is right everywhere, right? We don't do technology for the sake of technology. We do technology for the business we are in and to support its vision. And this is part of our vision, and therefore, that is where our story, which I will get into for Navigator AI, will come in. As you can see, the university has invested in almost 100 new faculty, specifically focused in AI, and those faculty are in all of the 16 colleges. So it makes what we do in IT very meaningful, because we are going to help with our platforms and tools these people what they need to do, which is our business of teaching, research, and innovation and service to the community. And so being part of it, being the janitor in the background or the plumber that is not seen, but making them do what they need to do is really a very fulfilling thing. And I would also like to say that as the keynote speaker, whether it's Ralph Waldo Emerson or the Bessie lady, whoever said it, it doesn't matter. Did we make a difference to one person? And I think what we do in IT, behind the scenes, we are not visible, we are not seen until it breaks, but what we do does make a difference. And we should be proud of it. So, having said that, we get to Navigator AI, which is our really true claim to fame, at least in the state of Florida. And UF Navigator AI evolved over the journey of how do we do it, right? And what happened with us was that this is all created by us using our very creative staff and our CIO, who's actively engaged in this and pushes us hard. You know, he says jump, and I say how high, and he says higher. And so this Navigator AI is a result of his drive to push us to do better and better and deliver within our resources. So what had happened was for us was that when ChatGPT came around and Microsoft announced that they are going to give you the Azure OpenAI subscription, we right away jumped on it. Certainly, we weren't the first. Michigan had led the way for it, but as soon as the subscriptions were open, we got it. And then we had a president that had a project for allowing some grants to the campus. And 80 proposals were submitted for it, and they were in all shapes and format. And so we got a request saying, hey, wouldn't it be wonderful if AI could somehow analyze these and give insights to the president to what projects should be approved? And we got the request, and we were like, okay, we have an Azure OpenAI subscription. Let's see what we can do about it. And as you know, when vendors sell you these pitches and show all the senior leadership these shiny things that AI or any new technology can do, they have an army of people that have worked on doing that presentation. When you take your real stuff and try to do it, you realize, okay, this is going to need a lot of work to get it to that shiny state. Anyways, I have some talented staff. We are extremely blessed. They're very, I'm sure you all have the same thing. You have very talented staff, and if given the opportunity, they can do miracles. And so we said, okay, I had a cloud platform team. I said, okay, get the Azure subscription, and let's see if we can make sense of it. So within a few hours, the guys came back, and we could make some sense of it. And then everybody got excited, and we started to get a lot of requests, and we were like, whoa. Everybody is coming in, and we are going to, I don't have really any staff allocation for AI. I have a team that's doing something else. So how do I do this? And then we're like, okay, this isn't going to stale because everybody's coming and we are doing one thing, one request, one model, a setup, another request, another model. People want to do AI, but they don't know what it takes to do AI. So how do we go about doing this? So we said, okay, let's take a step back. That's my style. Let's take a step back. Take a deep breath, and think about it. And then we thought about it, and we said, okay, what we need to do is approach it in a different manner. We need to not go with the thing that every model, every person, every independent application. We need to go down a way that we have one way where people can just make a request automatically, where they can go, they can request it, it goes through some framework, and it gets them to whatever model they need to get to. We also knew that we weren't going to pay, at that time, whatever the monthly subscription. I hope there's no Microsoft person in here. But it was a ginormous, 80, 90,000 a month for reserving some. I was like, that's not going to happen. And we are blessed. We have Hypergator, which is our supercomputer. And even before the NVIDIA donation, we had a pretty nice supercomputer. And with the NVIDIA donation, we had a massive, in the public research institutions, we had a massive gem of a resource. So we're not going to do that. We got to figure out how we can run these things locally so that we don't have to spend a lot of money. So I give all this credit. I cannot take the credit. Brilliant guys behind me who do all of this work. So we now call them the AI and platform engineering team. I carved off some people very recently, but we practically had, I would say, 3/4 of an FTE, then another quarter of an FTE, and a quarter of an FTE. And our journey for the past 1 year and since the chat GPT and and 1 year and some 6 months has been with 1.4 FTE total that we have applied to do what we have done. And I feel very good about it, given the fact that we don't have massive resources. But anyway, the bottom line was the architecture. And we said, okay, we are not going to go one-to-one, everybody. We are going to go inside out. So the gateway is the key. And you probably have heard everybody is using pretty much the same gateway. And we started off by using the open version of the gateway without paying anything for it, which was available openly. And then we proved it all out. So now our architecture is you have a gateway. You can be any application requester, any person, whether it's chat, assistants, in the future tutor or whatever. It will all talk to the gateway. And then the gateway in the background will talk to whatever database it needs to go to. The data pipelines are coming from the various data sources, but everything communicates through the gateway. The gateway is the brain of Navigator AI, and that is what allows us to make it a self-service capability for everybody and getting IT out of the way so that people can do what they need to do. And we also had to think about the various data types that we have in the institution, open, sensitive, and restricted. And so we wanted to make sure that we have all of those governance parameters all thought out. So as you can see in the model, AI security and governance, the toolkit, the chat, the various SaaS applications all go through this gateway framework. And I will talk to you about the technology that is behind it. So that's basically the architecture. And then we said, okay, from a product perspective, what should we have in our portfolio to begin with? So we presented a vision to our senior leadership saying, okay, Navigator AI is going to be a suite of products just like your M365. It has Office, it has Office, Word, all of these things. So Navigator AI is the brand, and then underneath that you can have chat, toolkit, assistants. The things that are in the blue are already done, or quasi-blue are in the works of happening. The things in the orange are in the development stage or going to be rolled out in the future. And then, we built this architecture. So like detours come, as one detour has come recently. Our provost has an interest in getting a Navigator tutor out there because we have, I think, 8 or 12 basic courses that they want to make sure that students get the help they need. Students are very sensitive to getting tutored. And so a request has come that we build a Navigator tutor for those core courses. We have a platform. We can build anything now because everything, all you need to do is get the right prompt engineering for what is needed for the tutor, and then you can leverage it, as I said, through that gateway, and off you go. So detours will occur, but the foundation of the architecture is strong. So right now we have a slight detour. We are going to realign some resources to quickly make this happen because it is a requirement or a need from the campus for student success, to make sure students are not struggling in those courses which are the foundational courses at this institution. So everything that we are focused on from our AI perspective is based on the need of the institution and where it helps the academic journey of our students and helps the faculty and staff. So let me breeze through it. I'm going a little slow. So anyway, as I said, several products in that suite. We have got chat, toolkit, and assistant. The chat, as you all know, is the same thing as you all are used to, the ChatGPT interface, et cetera, et cetera. We right now offer in our chat 32 large language models, 2 image generation models. They are, as long as you are using the local models, you can use it for restricted data, et cetera. If you are going to the cloud models, if you choose to use either the Microsoft ones or the Google ones or the Amazon ones, we are working on getting those risks assessed because although we have commercial data protection agreements with all those vendors, our legal counsel has said that it does not specifically call out AI. So we need to make sure that the contractual documents have the clause in for AI. Once that is done, then people can certainly work on those. Now so we built a monitoring or measuring tool which goes along with it, and this tells us what people are choosing. So we can see that llama is, as yesterday it was 29%, this slide is a little dated. So people are choosing GPT-4o because, the GPT-4o marketing is strong and people know. This is a choice people are making, right? So it tells us what people are using. We're not forcing them in any particular direction. These are choices that people are making, whether they're using the toolkit or in chat. So actually this data is just for chat, as the slide says. So people are choosing the particular model and then having whatever conversation they need to do. The chat interface, we're about to upgrade that to 3.0. It's already in testing. Our version 3.0, it will have speech-to-text and conversational interaction capabilities, time and person context aware. It will allow for personal knowledge base and assistant capabilities. And it will also have a course-focused onboarding structure. We are also providing a common shared prompt library for people, because I have realized that while everybody, for all of us in the IT community, we are good at prompting, but not the general populace who is the normal customer, the administrative user or the faculty. Some faculty probably are very good at it, but they might struggle with it. So we are also providing a shared prompt library in those. This is what our interface looks like. You can go get to it anywhere if you see that icon. And as I said, I should have bought some tchotchkes for that. We have a lot that we distribute. But you click on it, it's the same GPT interface. You can drop down the list. All the models are available. As you can see, you have the ability to upload your own documents. It's all within our environment. And so it's all secured. Everything from that perspective, security and compliance can take care of. So here's an example. I didn't want to do a live demo, but I uploaded an Excel spreadsheet with some counts in it. And I just simply said, summarize this document. It summarized the document. I was using GPT-4o. I made that choice. And then I said, OK, build a web page using Chart.js that displays this, and then use a different line to do blah, blah, blah. So I'm doing natural language, and I'm just a common user in a department, and it can do a lot of these kinds of things. So we are putting all of these examples out in our documentation for people to use. The tool is available to every faculty, staff, and student that has an affiliation with the University of Florida at this current time. So they can just go ahead and do it. We don't need to do a lot. UF Navigator Toolkit is for those people that are more advanced, right? They need to do advanced, the researchers and high-end users. They can use this toolkit as an AI endpoint. And we provide a self-service capability. As I said, we don't want to be in the business of accepting tickets and then consulting with you. Go off. You know what you want to do. You have access to the tools. By default, we allow 10 million tokens, which equates to 7.5 million words. But at the end of the day, if people who want more than that, they just have to make a request, and we allow them. Right now, we are not charging anybody anything. And but we do keep a track of what you are doing in terms of consumption. So if ever we need to, then we know. We have a policy of how we remove those models. Since we are an academic institution, we follow the semester schedule. So everything is reviewed per semester. Things that are being used, things that are not being used get removed. Things that are being used, if there's a newer version, it goes in immediately. If now you have two versions of the same, then we announce it that at the next semester it will be going away. We like to keep the only current version, but we do not take anything away during the semester because you could be doing a project on that. And so since we launched on 12/2/2024, which is this is for Toolkit, we've had 965 keys served, almost 1,000. So people are serving themselves these keys and using it for any of the models that they like, and almost 650 users. And they are the more powerful users. So they have used almost 250 million tokens average daily since December. So this is more used, less users, but more strong utilization. Chat, more users, over 10,000 users are using it, although it's accessible by everything, but 10 or 11,000 people have actually used it. But the token utilization, because it's short spurts of conversations rather than this massive utilization. And then the staff like to do some fun facts. So if you stacked up all of these pages, how far? And so apparently we have done enough to make it up to the top of Mount Everest. So Navigator Toolkit, as I said, very easy. You just go and generate your key. I did not put my key here, just so that it is not publicly available for the Whisper model. But for one of the things that we were trying to do and showcase how easy it is that we spend a lot of money on transcription. So if you went to Navigator Toolkit, you got your key, you took an audio file, and then you submitted a command to Whisper, which is a model that can help you with the transcription. It will generate you an audio transcription of the file within seconds. So these are some of the common things that we can help people with and find efficiencies for the organization with some small tweaks and education with how to use some of these tools. Assistant, as you all know, we started with obviously the web pages, and then I have said that we have HR and some of the other units that we are working with. UFIT already has it. It's the same look and feel as we are all familiar with, and the data is a little outdated. There's a lot more usage on it now. I forgot to update this slide since I last made it. Apologies for that, but you get the idea. People are using it. It's easy to do. So let me get into using Toolkit.
Navigator Analytics is a new LTI tool for the Canvas Learning Management System developed by UFIT to bring together historical, current, and contemporaneous data. The purpose of the tool is to improve teaching and learning. The tool can be accessed on the left-hand side of the Canvas navigation and activated by the instructor. The tool allows instructors to quickly see current and historical academic performance trends over time. It is easy to see how student academic performance changes day by day and focus on specific points in the term when students begin to struggle. Questions can now be answered such as, when do students begin to struggle in my course? How are my current students performing relative to historical terms? The instructor has access to all of his or her data going back to 2018. Another feature of the tool is for instructors to see what proportion of their students use the on-campus College of Liberal Arts and Sciences Learning Center. Encouraging students to use on-campus tutoring and supplemental learning resources can play a large role in improving academic performance for your specific course. If the instructor clicks on the Official Grades tab, the instructor can review historical official grade trends for only the class they have taught. At the end of the term, an instructor can compare most recent term grades to historical distributions. The view is a great way for an instructor to reflect upon the term. Let's now turn to instructor evaluations. The Evaluations tab provides a summary of quantitative and qualitative feedback for student evaluations. A large language model provides a brief 5-point summary of the qualitative data students provided to for item 13 in the evaluation system, namely, what additional constructive feedback can you offer the instructor that might help improve the course? The bot at the bottom of the page allows the instructor to interrogate the qualitative feedback students provide. For example, the instructor could ask to see all comments related to tests, quizzes, or exams. The bot below would provide all of those to the instructor. The bot can also be used to answer questions that take the student feedback into account. For example, an instructor could ask, how can I improve my tests? The evaluations page also allows an instructor to quickly view historical quantitative feedback directly related to the course or instructor items. Let's now look at the Quiz Data tab. The Quiz tab provides a current and historical view of student performance at the quiz item level. The Quiz Analytics provides insight into the percentage of students who received full credit on their first attempt only. In addition, the Quiz Analytic allows instructors to view specific assessments and allows for filtering of percentage correct. For example, an instructor might want to isolate quiz items where 40% or less of the students received credit. This view allows a quick way to see content that students struggle with the most. It is also possible to isolate and identify items where nearly 100% of the students receive full credit. It may be important to identify questions that are too easy or that do not align well with an exam. If you click the item itself, you will see a longitudinal history of item performance. This allows the instructor to evaluate item performance over time. Finally, there is a way to filter all items by keyword. Thank you for your time, and go Gators!
So under the hood, what is Navigator AI all about? We have some Gen 11 machines, and we run the gateway, the chat assistant on a VM infrastructure, and Hypergator Generation 3, which is the NVIDIA cluster, which Ms. Chris Malakowski donated to us, is the one where the local LLMs run. And then we have a NetApp NFS store where we provide for temporary stores for the vector database backup, and for people when they upload documents, we need a place to put them on. The software stack, pretty much most all of you will have most of these things. The Shibboleth, all of us have to VMware or whatever your virtualization layer is. But specifically to Navigator AI, we use Light LLM as the model. I think most all of us are using Light LLM as the gateway for AI Gateway and Toolkit. We use LibreChat right now, but we are moving to Open Web UI, which is, as I said, is right now being tested. alpha testing, and then we will be rolling it out into production in the next month. VLLM for local model deployment, and we certainly use Azure OpenAI, Google Vertex, and Bedrock for the appropriate cloud model deployments. Prometheus exporters for metric collection. Metrics are very important to us in terms of the performance as well as the utilization. We need to know how much we are spending and what is being used. So those are used, and we use the Grafana stack for the visualization of it. I don't have time enough to show that. It's pretty cool too, but that's just general thing. And certainly security, LLM Guard. If you were at the other talk yesterday, they used pretty much the same technology tool stack also. We did not talk to them, but we got to the same place. We are using pretty much the same technology tools. Not a lot of resources at the end of the day. It's basically Kubernetes cluster, Docker-based deployments. You don't need a lot to start. This is what I'm trying to say. You can start small as long as you have a place. You don't have to have a hyper-gated cluster. You could use some resources from the cloud too for your GPU needs, but the rest of it, most all of you probably have some flavors of VMs or virtual machines that you could start off and start this journey. Today at University of Florida, these are all the models that people have access to on their own, either through the chat or through Toolkit. You can go and just drop down and start using any of those models with whatever it is that you need to do. As I said, we have a deployment cycle. We go through spring, fall, summer. We move things, we bring them out, we announce it, so that people know, okay, this is going to be there for the semester, and then they need to move. What lessons did I learn on the technology side before I get into the strategy side? You can start building a platform or go crazy with every request, or you can take a step back, as I said, focus, and then come out inside out. You want to do something that you can scale. So we worry of vendors. Everybody has a great pitch, and I love them all. They provide us a lot of good things, but you got to be careful. You don't want to get caught into all these thousands and thousands and thousands of commitments that could, if you take time, figure out what your campus needs are and then just focus on that, maybe you don't have to spend all those millions. Wherever possible in this world, everybody's coming out. It's new enough that you could try open source and see what works, and then we pay light LLM now, but when we started, we didn't. And we paid to them because we want their enterprise edition to be able to do single sign-on and all of those things. And then you want to be ready to answer the question, I want AI, because people don't know what they really want. They just think AI will magically do it. It doesn't do magically anything. For your staff and for your community, it's important that you educate them. Even IT doesn't understand all about AI. Everybody wants to do it, but not everybody is the right fit to do it in IT. Get the requirements and set the expectations. I think I'm saying everything that you all already know, but you've got to reinforce that. Just don't jump into it. Make sure that leadership and the staff, we can all talk the correct lingo. The lingo is important. People don't understand the difference between prompts, LLMs, RAGs, whatever. We are now moving into the agentic era, right? Everybody wants these actionable things to happen. AI is here, why can't I do this? Well, there's a journey to get there. And so we need to make sure people understand those terminologies. Everybody's talking the same terms when they are talking AI, because that can lead to massive confusion. And as I said, embrace it, but set clear expectations. You have to deliver your commitments, but you got to also make sure that people understand what it takes to do this. AI is not intelligent. It is what we make it to do. So we are the ones that have, I think this is, all of you know it. And of course, for us, branding is key. We are the gators. We have to have something gator. So Navigator, the brand, we created it. We're sticking with it. And I think it has done a lot to educate and actually enhance the tool set. So for people to know, okay, where do I go for AI tools? So you go to Navigator AI. All right, so the part that I started with, the strategy part, right? The strategy part for us now on the business side of things is that it's a 5x5 matrix for us. So we did IT, UFIT, under our leadership, we went and did a day-long retreat, a couple of those, and said, okay, if we, UFIT, want to offer AI services, what do we need to do to get there? Because we have an existing set of staff, and this is a whole new era. What are you going to need to do to deliver new services that are fast and furious being demanded by our constituents? And so this is what we came up with. The 5 pillars are people, process, technology, culture, and politics and policies. And then the lenses that you need to look at are data and governance, support and training, security and compliance, infrastructure, platform, and ethics, of course, most important part. And we said, okay, for the people, for data and governance, on the people side, you can leverage the existing structures. We have various governance, data governance committees, various governance structures. Let's leverage those and include the AI conversation in that. In the process, involve faculty, be inclusive so that the faculty are part of what we are trying to build. And the policies around data and governance and all of these should always have an institutional focus. On the support and training side, we said, well, we probably will need to add there because we might not have the right resources to train for AI, or we might need to add training around those things. So there's an add need there. On the security and compliance side, we said we already have security, an office and all of those frameworks. Let's leverage the existing IT security to focus on some of these things. On the infrastructure platform, we said we have some things, but we may need to add. On the ethics side, we said, okay, we will leverage the existing compliance office to help us with the ethical issues around AI. And the AI Institute itself is focusing on a lot of all of these things. So leverage what we have already got. On the process, as I said, involve faculty. On the support and training, we said, let's not focus on unit by unit training. We should focus on institutional training of what are the kinds of things that we need to have as education materials and courses that can help our faculty across all colleges, not think about training by silos. And then, as I said, build the infrastructure platform for all the institution, not a particular college. And that was the vision that our provost also had, that kind of bled into all of our thinking. On the technical side, certainly we can be on-prem or cloud. We are blessed. We have a lot of resources on-prem. We can burst to the cloud where we need to, or for those models that we need to get to. And then culture and politics, certainly we said, it has to be from a support and training, from a platform perspective, just focus institutional, make the culture to be thinking about institutional, manage the politics at the institutional level, and then all will be well. Easier words said than done, right? But policies straight down for everything. Think about it from an institutional perspective. If you check off all of these boxes and have used those as a thought, sort of a tickler, you can have your own AI strategy for your institution. Start big, look at these boxes and say, okay, where do I need, what do I need? And then that will help you build your thought for those of you who are trying to get there. People, certainly you want a dedicated team. I started with 1.25, then I begged and begged and begged, then I moved some resources, so we are hiring a few more because the demand is high. You need people for platform management, for prompt engineering, for training. There is certainly potential to leverage your existing IT, but you might need to augment them. Process, you need to have a process for continuous funding support. We are doing it with very less dollars. As I said, for the 1.5 years, we might have just spent like $49,000. Most of the bulk of it is the light LLM license. The utilization, since we do a lot of it local models, is not a lot. And the people that are busting to 4.0 or ChatGPT is not a lot. But I'm saying you have to have a continuous funding model. Make sure you're doing faculty partnership, look for university investment, and all of the usual things that we talk about, right? What are our funding sources? And always think about how it's helping for your return on investment, make the case in terms of research dollars and student success, because that resonates with academia and the academic leadership. Technology, certainly you're going to need GPUs and CPUs, all of these layers, very common. Culture and politics, as you know, is a fine art. Focus on this day forward. Get a commitment. Don't think about everything, just here we are, how do we go forward? And then policies for the entire institution, one ring to rule them all, very institutional focused, okay? And this talk would not be complete without the honorable mention, as I write over there, of our new arrival. This is the first shipment of NVIDIA B200 SuperPod. I am told we were the first institution in the entire world to get this. So I have to mention this. This is something that we are very proud of, and we hope to run the next models on these ones. So with that, I have 6 minutes and 22 seconds. Any questions?
Enjoyed the presentation.
Thank you.
On your lessons learned, you didn't have anything about data, and I was kind of surprised by that in terms of data quality. A lot of the other presentations.
Oh yes, I
focused
can
on
talk
that.
about that. I've said, so the one thing in the assistance that really brought out the data issue, and I'm glad you asked that because I had thought about where do I interject that. So the funny thing is the HR folks, that's an assistant that we are doing, and they said, oh, this doesn't work, right? It's not that it doesn't work. It exposes all your data when you ask that question. And if you have years of crappy data that you have not removed from all of those public documentation, it's going to bring them up. It doesn't know which document to serve out. It's going to give you a link to all of those documents. So curating your data is very, very important for how you want that thing to respond. So that is absolutely a fundamental thing as part of the lessons learned. When we did even our UFIT assistant, it was like, okay, we have information that it's bringing up. It's wrong, but it's because we never took it away. We just added the new information somewhere. So data curation, absolutely very important. Thank you. Yes?
Quick question, maybe a little bit more technical, but just if you were involved in the review process for the transitioning from LibreChat to Open Web UI, would you be able to speak what are the reasons why you're doing this transition?
I can speak to two things. The first, we had looked at Open Web UI in the initial round also when we started our Navigator journey, but we didn't do it because I think it did not have single sign-on capabilities. Now it is able to do the single sign-on integration, and so we did that. And it allows us to do some of the speech-to-text and some other features that are not present in LibreChat. We would have done Open Web UI first round, but it just didn't have the single sign-on. But there are some capabilities that will enable us to allow more features to our users, and that's why we are moving to Open Web UI now. Does that help? Okay? Yes, sorry. Let me get up.
Thank you for the fantastic presentation.
Thank you.
You've showed that today you can do the balance between using your on-prem and doing the burst through the cloud. Yeah. But as you look at the future, do you see that balance completely changing where you're not going to be able to keep adding to the on-prem, where it's going to be more and more where you need to be leveraging the cloud?
No, so I think that for us, the only time we go to the cloud is if a cloud provider does not allow you to run it on-prem. So if you look, IBM's Granite is running on our as a local model on our infrastructure, on Hypergator, okay? Even NVIDIA's NIM is running on our infrastructure. We are not using, wherever possible, if the vendor allows us to run the models locally, we will run them locally because we have a resource which can easily accommodate that. The only time we are going to the cloud is if you cannot have a local instance of that. I don't foresee us because, as I said, we are very blessed with a very supercomputer. Until we have that blessing, I don't see a reason for us to burst anywhere to the cloud.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Got another question, that's fine.
Sure.
What does the funding model look like? So is it centrally funded when using these tools, or do you do kind of chargebacks?
Yes, so right now, Navigator AI is certainly centrally funded because we used all of our resources for it. And for the monies that were needed for those that actually choose to go to GPT-4o, as I said, we haven't used. From the UFIT budget, we allocated a few. I would say overall, for the duration of this, I got an allocation for $50,000. And of the $50,000, as I said, part of it is the light LLM license, and the rest of the balance is for utilizing any of these cloud models and stuff. So that has been, I had requested $50,000, and that's currently what we are within our over a 1 year utilization has been that. If this grows further and people start to use a lot more of the cloud ones, I don't know when our bank will break, but that's why I said that orchestration or the monitoring part of it, everybody that asks us for more than in the toolkit that asks us for more resources, we tell them it's free for right now, but at some point we might charge you. Right now, people have come and said, oh, I'm going to need $2,000 worth and $3,000. They don't know it, right? So they don't use. Once they start to use it, it's not really going to that level. People don't know what they're asking for right now. So we are watching it very carefully, but we haven't burst our bank as yet from that perspective. Our goal is to, if it's not that much, then we will hope, as I said, it's a common good. We would just ask the campus to fund it if it goes beyond, because the inter-office charging each other back there's more cost to it than just allowing it to happen at the campus level. The numbers aren't there yet where we have gone out. But I will be keeping a very close eye on that because that's very important. We don't have unlimited funding either. Does that help? Yes, one more question. Oh, okay, thumbs up, thank you, I like it. Any other questions? I have 45 seconds left. 43. We have some, stickers for Navigator AI. I just thought about it, and some mugs and stuff. I should have brought it. I just didn't think about it. To thank you, but anyway, thank you for being here. You made my day.